you can't get a job without one. So all the holdouts back in the 30s, 40s, 50s who said, oh, that's the mark of the beast, they all had to sign up, or they died off, and then their kids signed up. Same thing is going to happen with the cashless society. Same thing is going to happen with near-field communication cell phone payments. And ultimately, they're pushing for that same thing to happen with the implants. So I would look for the implants. We were out there protesting. I did a prayer vigil and a march against the chipping of the Alzheimer's patients in Florida. If people want to go to antichips.com, they can see not only the photos of that event, but they can also see, it's like a 50-page document, an academic document that I wrote about those microchips causing cancer in laboratory animals. So there's also, I think, like a 100-page or 100-question FAQ, antichips.com. People can check it out and learn more about these implants. But, the whole move of these implants, there are a couple of stupid companies like the Verichip Corporation, with all its various names, that come out and say, oh, well, we want to sell this as a product. I don't think it's going to happen that way. People don't want an ID microchip. But if you turn around and instead say, you'll be able to listen to music and access Facebook and get your email through this little implant, you're going to have a stampede of people wanting to do it. Because and I think a part of it, Alex, and I know you and I are doing all we can, but our generation and the folks that they're listening to this show, we are not doing a very good job reaching out to young people and helping them understand why this stuff matters. And we are not Madison Avenue. They are getting their information from the schools, which is the government, 12,000 hours of seat time. Actually, it's 14,000 hours of seat time. So they've got the government doing all of this forming. They've got television, which is all the folks we were just talking about, giving you all this in advance and doing the behavioral placements. And then we've got Madison Avenue, which has a definite interest in our kids not caring about privacy, because they know the more they know about us, the more they can get us to part with our money. And so all of these forces and all of these informational sources are promoting this stuff. And we, who in past eras, parents, grandparents, the people in your community, we are not having an influence on young people.
Well, there is no community. All there is television, and then people watch it, and then outside of watching it, they sit around and talk about what happened on the television. So human society is organized around a bunch of propaganda and brainwashing. And I mean, that's the proof of the New World Order's crimes, is not just all the admissions and convictions, Catherine, but the anti-family, anti-human, poisonous messages they shovel. Let me ask you this. I mean, I know that a decade ago, WashTech, the Washington Post, had a monthly technology magazine, and I even interviewed one of their writers, and he went to a big symposium and bragged. He said the media is pushing body modification and all this ahead of getting everyone ready to take implantable chips. And you think about the fact that these globalists operate in 10, 20, 30-year plans and work in concert together as a ruling class, enjoying the fact that they govern the world and roll out the PR, and then we buy into it like an artificial habitat, like we're animals drinking from the poison, water well that they've poisoned, the poison system. I mean, this is... So what you're saying about technology being double-edged, they're designing it all to be oppressive and to have the back doors. And so I think it's the message of showing people how it's being deployed to ensnare and entrap. But then what do you do? Because already to communicate in the matrix and to reach people in the matrix, you have to be in the matrix.
Right, that's right. And I always go back, Alex, when I get frustrated by that, because I'm not going to get an iPhone. So I may be like that guy in the 1920s who was driving his mule team down Main Street while the cars were honking, because I'm not going to get an iPhone. That's where I'm drawing the line, because I know that that's going to be near field communication that is one step away from the implant. It's those phones, and they're already a privacy disaster. So what I take solace in, though, Alex, when I think about that, is I always think about what it says in the Bible: what you intended for evil, I have turned to good. So there is nothing out there that Satan can throw at us, that these technological monsters who want this transhumanism, there's nothing that they can throw at us that if you maintain your integrity and stay within your own bounds, and I would encourage everybody, draw those boundaries now, because they're going to be really working on your psyche to try to get you to change them. Draw your boundaries now, figure out where they are, and then work within that. I've got a very good friend who shares a lot of these views. She just got an Apple computer because she had had to for work. And she says, well, you know, if I'm going to be logging onto Facebook, if I'm going to be logging onto these places for my work to convey these important privacy notions and to convey this important stuff, I'm going to do it with my eyes open, fully aware, and also not become addicted. They call it nomophobia, I think is the name of it. It's cell phone addiction. And they found that like over 50% of people are suffering from cell phone addiction.
Listen, I go to restaurants and places and people aren't even talking to each other, myself included. They're on the cell phones. Children, they've had studies, as you know, that have come out, are using a lot less words now. You can see people already being sucked into the matrix. What big studies came out a month ago, that it's reprogramming brains in a bad way and increasing autism. I mean, this is really, really coming to a head.
You know, I had somebody 28 years old write into me through my radio show and say, I went back to college. I'm in with a bunch of 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. And by the way, present company excluded. All you young people listening to Alex, amen to you and thumbs up. But, you know, he was writing that you can't even carry on a conversation with these people. They're shifting. Their eyes are shifting around. They're moving from foot to foot. They can't hear the end of a statement.
They have no attention span. They've been programmed down. I mean, we know it hurt children to have their attention span go from about an hour down to like 6-7 minutes for cartoons. Now it's a matter of seconds, and all they can do is gibber. And let me explain what I've a understanding I've developed. Their brainwaves are near, and this has been confirmed, near a dream state, and they're in a fantasy of a fake archetype program of the trendy they are. You know, of the Madison Avenue archetype they've taken on, and that's why they smile with pleasure and look down on everyone else's scum. So it's like people in the Matrix walking around that they're movie stars in the Matrix. It's just like the movie The Matrix, where he says, I don't remember anything, put me back in, you know, make me a movie star. They are walking around thinking they're trendy, and there's no one even home now.
You know, it is the most disturbing thing. And so what do we do? Well, first of all, I think it is okay to put your foot in the water and use some of these technologies. I do. I'm not going to get a microchip implant. They will have to shoot me before I will ever do that. Or if you believe what the Bible has to say about that, they will behead the people who will refuse to ultimately sign up for whatever form the mark of the beast takes. So I've got my lines that I've drawn. I pay for all my payments in cash. I do not use a credit card. I can count on my fingers the number of times I've used a credit card in the last 10 years.
We've got to keep cash alive.
We have to. We have to. But, you know, but again, I was thinking about this. The guy driving down Main Street in the 1920s in his mule cart, you know, at some point, that guy's going to get old and die, and then everybody drives a car. Or the people who said no to the telephones, who thought it was impersonal. You know, the Amish are fascinating to me because they've actually said no and let all of the freeway of technology race around them, and they're still on their mules without their phones. So,
well, I can see people 300 years ago seeing those cesspit cities and saying, we don't want any part of this, we're going to the countryside.
That's right. Well, there's a new study out today that perhaps you saw that actually the Amish are the only population in America that seems completely resistant against all of the allergies that our kids have. So you look at that and you go, okay, well, what is it? Is it exposure to radio, you know, electromagnetic radiation?
Well, that's what the top scientists are saying, is it's a cocktail. It's the GMO, it's the air conditioning chemicals, it's the computer screens, it's all of it's the frequency pollution.
Absolutely. And, you know, I was reading my Bible recently, and it refers to Satan as the prince of the air. And, you know, that really hit me. I was like, okay, so I've got a light outside my studio here that says on the air. And, you know, we're broadcasting out through the air. There's air all around us that is absolutely filled with communication. And fortunately, in our case, you know, we're communicating good stuff. But a lot of what that's floating around is impacting people's bodies. We've got radio waves. We had television waves up until recently. We've got all of this wireless, Wi-Fi, RFID, all this stuff coming through the air.
But we can't see it, and that's where the globalists always come at you, in the food, in the water, in the hidden tech inside your iPhone. Everything is hidden. That's what a cult means, is hidden, and they are the masters of the hidden world, and they've built this whole hidden world around us, and now they told us, oh, that stuff doesn't exist, children, but now as they phase it out, they go, you know what, it did exist.
And, you know, and this is why this, just to tie this back to the nanotech thing and also to some of the other stuff we've been talking about, if they come up with this, if DARPA actually gets proposals on this and can pull it off, just a heads up for people, 12 months out, they want a safety demonstration in animals. By 42 months out, they actually want to demonstrate this nano platform tracking sensor in a large animal with 5 analyte detection. So a large animal, what are we talking, like a dog, a moose, a cow? I don't know. But 42 months out, they want that. At what point can they just inject this into us and we don't even know it's there?
I got news for you. I know military that have taken chips. And I have, well, I'm not going to get it. I've had family that was told they were getting chips and now they won't talk about it. We'll be right back. For a long time, you've heard me talk about building your own food supply. All right, final segment in this hour. We were mentioning the nanotech. I thought I'd give you a source on that. Chicago Tribune, MSNBC, and others. FDA says nanotech may need extra safety test. And the FDA is run by Monsanto, eugenicists, the globalists. I mean, it'll just make your head spin when you look at it. And they admit, hundreds of food products and other things, they have nanotech in them. And yeah, it goes through the blood-brain barrier. These little nanotechs are in your brain. And then we'll just see neurological disorders, cancer, everything off the charts. It's getting, I mean, the numbers of pediatric cancers, diabetes, neurological disorders, breast cancer. We lead the world in that. It's all off the chart. And it's a tiny group of globalists who, A, could care less, but B, also like seeing people sick and dying, who are running this. And 99% of us plus need to understand that and get together and say, we are aware of your scientific dictatorship. We are aware of what you're trying to do, because they're not in full control yet. And exposure can bring them down. Katherine, in closing, how are you doing with the treatment you've undergone for breast cancer?
I have really good news on that. I am done at the end of this month. Done. And as your listeners know, I had stage 3 breast cancer, 16 months of treatment. It has been the journey of a lifetime here. And May 23rd is my absolute last day. I get my final treatment, and then they give me a big hug and they send me out into the world and say, "Good luck, honey." And at that point, it's just a lot of prayer to make sure that it never comes back. Because the thing about cancer, once you kick it, if it comes back, it usually comes back terminal, and then you've only got, a couple of years. Now, some people fight it then, but in the case of breast cancer, stage 4 breast cancer has about a 3% survival rate. So
all right,
I don't have that. I don't have that. But I'd love it if the listeners would please keep me in your prayers. May 23rd is my last day. KMAshow.com is my website, and I have been a little remiss in blogging, but I've got a whole ton of blog stuff in there about my journey with cancer, and I'm going to be updating that shortly. Also, Alex, I wanted to ask you, I would love to have you be our celebrity spokesperson for Start Page. So I'm just going to throw that out. Maybe you and I can talk off the air. But we love you, and we know that, you are probably more than anybody else out there, the single voice who gets it, who understands the importance of this stuff, and who understands why we do not want to be under the thumb of these people who want to watch and
I already use startpage.com. If you click on the search engine tab at Infowars.com, it takes you to a Start Page search system. We don't even use Google anymore, even though I call it the NSA search engine and try to educate people. It's just a criminal organism. But yeah, I'll try to call you later today, Katherine. God bless you, and I'm flattered we'll talk soon.
God bless you. Thank you, Alex, for all you do.
You bet. There goes Katherine Albrecht, Dr. Katherine Albrecht. I am out of time here. Max, one of our IT guys, pointed out we had a whole bunch of people sign up for the free weekly newsletter. We also send out news alerts on it. If you go to the right-hand side of Infowars.com, it says the Infowars Insider. Simply put in your email address right there, and it signs you up for the free newsletter and alerts. Everybody that signs up, coming up Wednesday, we're going to send out an email that gives you the new web address and everything for the beta testing of the new social network. And for a few weeks, we're going to be beta testing it, but you'll have first dibs at setting it up there. I've had a lot of other stuff on the fire, but things are moving so quick, I'm just rushing everything out. This has been way behind, but I'm rushing a bunch of other new projects out. A social network for everybody to meet and get together. You can go to Infowars.com/newsletter as well and find the URL to sign up for free for the Infowars Insider. And finally, don't forget, we also carry the book. It's sold out everywhere else, or selling out everywhere else. I'm told they're printing more, but we have some. The Strategic Relocation is available at Infowars.com by Joel Skousen, and more. So key information on that front. Help us get the re-education camp news out. We'll cover on the news tonight, 7 o'clock.